afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Reactions pouring in following the death of Custos of Hanover. Remove or to retain integrity gag clause debate still a dividing topic among parliamentarians. And later in sports, reggae boys set to clash Trinidad in friendly tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie-Ann Simpson. Here are the details. We begin with a TVJ News follow-up. The Hanover police say there were no signs of forced entry at the home of Custos Dr. David Stair. Dr. Stair was found dead at his Pond Peace Hopewell home yesterday evening. Sources say he has been suffering from heart problems. However, investigators are awaiting an autopsy to be done to determine the cause of death. It's reported that the staff at the Sandy Bay Clinic became concerned after the Custos did not show up for work. Calls to his phone also went unanswered. When they went to his house, his door was open and he was seen unresponsive on the floor. Custos for Westmoreland
has been one of those of whom it could justly be said he walked with kings, but never lost the common touch. He was loved by all well-thinking persons, as he distinguished himself both in his professional life as a medical doctor and indeed in his role as Custos Rotolorum for the parish of Hanover. That parish, and indeed the entire Jamaica, is a poor for the loss of this erudite, humble, and kind man.
Meanwhile, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says Mr. Stair or Dr. Stair will be deeply saddened by the death of Dr. Stair. Mr. Chuck says the Custos was a dedicated public servant and medical doctor who served with distinction, leaving an unforgettable mark on the parish and the nation. He further noted that the deceased Custos was a firm believer in peaceful conflict resolution. As the Joint Select Committee continues to examine the amendment to the Integrity Commission Act, committee member Delroy Chuck is proposing changes to some of its processes. He's of the view that the Integrity Commission should desist from making public that an investigation is being done. That announcement, he argues, should only be done after it is completed and the findings are released. Mr. Chuck says any other way tarnishes the reputation of the individual being investigated.
Proceed in a manner that is open, transparent, but protect the reputation of persons who go into public life and are there because they want to make a contribution, and without the fear that you could have some malicious allegations being put against them and their reputation would be totally destroyed.
It's against this backdrop that Mr. Chuck believes Section 53 of the Integrity Commission Act should remain. That section deals with the gag clause and states that, quote, until the tabling in Parliament of a report, all matters under investigation must be kept confidential and no report or public statement should be made by the Commission.
One of the things that concerns me is that it is the parliamentarians who consider the provision to be most oppressive. Because although I agree with you that saying 28 public officials is a broad category, that is Minister Chuck's comment, I agree with him. I still find that the protest is only coming from the parliamentarians. And I just want, Chair, as I take my leave, because I should have left 5 minutes ago, that we contemplate what is supposed to guide the amendment.
That's Shadow spokesperson on Justice Donna Scott Motley. It's why she says she is awaiting to see the New Zealand legislation before she makes further comments on whether to remain or to retain the gag clause. One man is dead and 3 others in custody following several police operations in St. Elizabeth yesterday. It's reported that during an operation in the Luana housing scheme about midday, a confrontation developed between the deceased and the police. The man identified as Jamar Stevens, otherwise called Teapot, was shot during the encounter. He was rushed to the Black River Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The police say a black Armscar revolver containing 3.38 cartridges were recovered. Wednesday's operation targeted wanted persons and persons of interest. Indicom has since launched an investigation. Business operators along Ballywoolly Road in Mandeville are calling on the Manchester Municipal Corporation to urgently address a number of issues affecting them. Businessman and JP Derek Allen says they include the safety of children attending a nearby early childhood institution to unsanitary practices.
I sent a letter to the Ministry of Health requesting some help. I've sent letters to the Parish Council, the Honourable the Mayor, and the CEO of Parish Council. I've sent letters to the Police Department and all various Members of Parliament for the area. I have not had a response in writing from them, but I did have a conversation with the police, which was very good, and we are seeing some action from the police.
He says unauthorized parking along the roadway is also a major problem as it blocks access to businesses.
Especially Wednesdays and Fridays, it's almost impossible to enter this road here during the hours of 9 through 5. It's a big challenge, and we are losing customers here because of this problem, because customers are not able to access our parking lot. And one of the problems that there is that persons parking on our lot, leaving the vehicle for the whole day, wherever they are not sure, but they return in the evening sometime when it's dark.
In response, Chief Executive Officer of the Manchester Municipal Corporation, Andrew Harrison, says the corporation is in receipt of the letter and has forwarded it to its technical department for an assessment to be made. A nutrition practitioner has issued a sharp warning as Jamaica continues to grapple with the rising tide of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, among young people. Alex Johnson believes a comprehensive approach is critical to safeguarding the health of Jamaica's youth. Sandy Williams reports.
Until we correct the nutrition, we're not going to correct the NCDs.
Nutrition practitioner Alex Johnson's urgent call comes in the wake of grim statistics from the Ministry of Health, confirming that non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, cancers, and chronic respiratory illnesses are now the leading causes of death in the country. While the government has taken steps to curb unhealthy dietary habits, Mr. Johnson argues that current measures are insufficient. In 2019, the government introduced guidelines limiting the sugar content in beverages sold to students, initially capping it at 6 grams per 100 milliliters. The threshold was further tightened in January 2023 to 2.5 grams. However, Mr. Johnson insists that restricting sugar drinks alone is not enough.
We want regulations of what is being cooked in the canteens. So we want a standardized meal plan across the schools that our students get set amount of calories per day from the school food environment. And we also want to limit some of these things that are coming in, these candies and so that coming in from overseas into our schools with high sugars, and our children are consuming them in large quantities. So we want to regulate what the vendors are selling also, so that our students can now have a safe school food environment.
School nutritionists, he adds, are also critical in ensuring a safe school food environment.
Because how is this program going to be properly monitored and evaluated, and we want the program to be implemented properly? So we need our school nutritionists who can help with the Ministry of Education, who is doing a beautiful job with managing our schools, but we want them to come together with the technical guidance so that we can have a healthier school food environment and we can live longer, live healthier and live stronger.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
The People's National Party PNP is advocating for a more effective and responsible approach to policing in Jamaica, with a strong emphasis on addressing police brutality. PNP leader Mark Golding recently expressed concerns to residents of Jarrett Lane in Kingston, stressing that combating crime requires a different strategy.
Based on serving and protecting and building a relationship of trust. So we have to go work with those police in the hierarchy to make them understand that we want the signals to be sent right through the force so that we don't have this issue which has been going on for far too long. You know, and the truth is sometimes, you know, they have their own complaints about how people behave towards them as well.
Mr. Golding acknowledged that the police cannot tackle the issue alone and stressed that citizens must also play a vital role in working with law enforcement to create safer communities.
But as you have said, you, the citizens, just want to have a respectful relationship, a relationship that isn't based on disrespect and antagonism and unnecessary aggression and use of force. And I think the culture of the police force needs to embrace that philosophy so that the people say to the police, yes, we're happy to see you. You make us feel more comfortable. You make us feel safe in our community. And we will work with you to make our place continue to be a safe place.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more local stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. After a year of unfavorable events, from predial larceny to adverse weather conditions, farmers in Manchester were treated to a day of rest and recognition. Over 160 farmers across Manchester were pampered and fed by the Manchester branch of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, at a treat held at the St. Mark's Anglican Church Hall in Mandeville recently. The farmers received pedicures, manicures, facials and back massage services. They also engaged in board games and dancing. President of the Manchester Association of Branch Societies, Norman Murray, says this is the first time the farmers were being feted. He also noted that it's part of ongoing efforts to enhance their welfare.
Our farmers have been working so hard over the years. And then as a board at the parish level, we decided that these farmers, our farmers, they have gone through a lot. They have been working hard, that's one. They have gone through all these natural disasters. And especially when we saw what happened to a large percentage of them during burial. We sat down as a board and we decided that this is something that the welfare of our farmers, we must put that at the forefront.
Now, in response, the farmers, many of whom are seniors, say they are delighted.
We are more than grateful. It relieves the stress, the tension, and it's just a relaxation day.
Sometimes even the woman want to do it and it cannot done because it is too busy. You know, every time we have to go and do different things. But thank God, just provide this day for us.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
The Financial Services Commission, FSC, says although the 33 securities dealers it supervises were still investing in fixed income securities, such as government bonds, there was an increase in the amount of money invested in the real estate sector. This according to data up to the end of September last year. Of the $1.70 trillion they had under management, approximately 50% was invested in fixed income securities, while the data showed a 25% increase in real estate investments. The real estate sector accounts for almost 8% of gross domestic product GDP and employs almost 100,000 people. Further afield, new data reveals how much more reliant the United States has become on Mexico for imported goods. On Wednesday, the Commerce Department released trade details stating the U.S. imported a total of $505 billion worth of goods from Mexico last year. That was a $30 billion increase from 2023 and a new record. Mexico is the top exporter of goods to the U.S., followed by China and Canada. The new data comes after Mexico and the U.S. reached an agreement to delay a 25% tariff on Mexican goods for a month. If it does go into effect, the tariffs would likely raise prices for consumers. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.